Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News, and today I've got a very interesting story for you guys regarding XRP. Now, taking a look, you guys might already be able to see what it's all about. But before we do that, let me give you guys an introduction. I think that the XRP community is one of the most divided out of all the crypto communities. And what I mean with that is that in the XRP community, you have a lot of people that put XRP at a true price of, let's say, $100, $150, something like that. And there's a completely opposite side of people who think XRP is going to be amazing, but not meant for retail, which places XRP at, well, either 589, some people said as a joke, or at the tens of thousands of dollars. Now, I've said many times, I'm extremely bullish on XRP. A majority of my portfolio is in XRP, but then I'm mostly in Camp A, where I'm not so sure about all these secret behind the closed doors plans, but I'm pretty sure that if they win this lawsuit and things move on in the way in which they are, well, currently doing already, that things are going to be absolutely amazing. And I place XRP at dollars, you know? Like, I would say $100 is not even out of the question eventually. But there was a reporter who got extremely popular as the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit took off. The guys over at Fox all of a sudden started covering it, right? The XRP community was rejoicing. They were excited. Finally, some attention. But all of a sudden, the tables have turned. And oh boy, is the XRP community divided about this. So, there's one guy that I respect a lot. He shared extremely insightful pieces on XRP, and I check his profile out very often. Again, you never agree all the time with somebody. So even the guy which we're going to cover in just a second now, I can't say I agree with every post, but I don't think you would agree with all the posts that I put out. Let me just say it like this. I think the guy that we're talking about here is very respectable, and I admire a lot of his work. I seriously like a lot of things that he posts, and it looks to be as if he does a lot of research into these topics and puts a lot of hours into creating valuable content for the people. Now, as you can see though, Charles from Fox says, this guy, again talking about my guy here, is proof there's also middle-aged men in Germany who live with their moms. Sad, huh? Now, you can see British Miss saying, Charles, please stop. I really appreciate everything you've done for the XRP community. Please don't do a Harry on us. And he says the XRP community needs to grow up. It's coming across as conspiracy theorists and children. Whereas Stephen fired back with a little interesting Charles post. Yeah, Crypto Bull came in with a little bit of a roast saying he lives in Switzerland, but given the lack of research skills you have shown regarding the SEC v Ripple case, I didn't expect you to know the difference. Perhaps spend less time in the gym and try to exercise your neurons more. Ooh. Again, that roast I don't want to cover that. The roast goes on further, but you know, I want to kind of state the purpose here rather than going into the nitty-gritty fun bits. If we look back a little bit, you can see, and actually I should give context, Charles is already on a little bit of a hot fire. Because over the last couple of days, he's been saying a couple of very interesting things against Ripple/XRP. Whereas over the last couple of months, he's been very supportive. So it's a pretty sudden shift. So he, for example, 2 days ago said, I've seen zero criminal conduct on behalf of Bill Hinman. Zero. Does that automatically mean the SEC did the right thing suing Ripple? Of course not. But deal with facts. And then Mr. Huber said, what now? Does the SEC ethics office lie? Isn't the SEC your source? You can't have it both ways. Little Charlie, either the SEC's info is true or it's not. Either you believe the SEC or you don't. And then he basically tagged a earlier discussion, mostly regarding the conflict of interest with Simpson Thacher. We talked about this for hours already. Again, quote, you have a bar under the criminal financial conflict with Simpson because you have an ongoing financial interest in the firm. Meeting with them while having such a conflict is not permitted. As we discussed during your briefing, even calls with them are not permitted. And I wanted to take a look at the tweet from Mr. Zirk, but it's been deleted. And I guess that was just an allegation against Mr. Hinman, but he got afraid since, well, Mr. Big Fox is covering him. And again, let me state in the middle right here, I'm not against Charles. He's posted a lot of good stuff, and it could just be that he changed his mind, which is fine. But I'm against what he's doing right now against the community, because all of a sudden he has a radical and pretty hard shift. And you can see that the most parts of the XRP community are tossing him out or losing their respect because all of a sudden he's had a, well, drastic change of heart, and it's not really substantiated that much. He's just throwing it around in few words, in few words, except for he's done with the XP community, but he doesn't really explain exactly what happened or why or anything like that. And yeah, what's also interesting, and again, I don't want to take too much of your time, but it's a back and forth between the XRP community people, a lot of them, versus Charles Gasparino. Again, he's done a lot of good for the community, don't get it twisted, It's not as if he's only a bad asset. What's bothering me is the change of heart, the severity in that, and how, as a Fox reporter, when he's been deep diving into SEC territory for so long, how come he is on the complete opposite side than most of us by saying that the entity is like a fine entity, they're not really doing too much wrong. He doesn't say they're good, but he's basically claiming they didn't do anything wrong. And then also going out of his way to really talk down on a lot of Twitter people, even people with 30 followers. He doesn't discriminate, that's good, I guess. But as far as I understand, it all started with this nightmare crypto scenario. Ripple loses SEC case. Gary Gensler will target Ethereum for its sales, crippling the two best technologies in crypto. Again, you see his way of phrasing things is still pretty nice. It's not, mean or in a negative way at all. I mean, it's a negative conclusion, but it's a hypothetical. He still says crippling the two best technologies of crypto. Most of these coins are backed by nothing. Bitcoin's tech is outdated. Ripple and Ethereum are real. Scary stuff. And as you guys hopefully remember, what we're seeing is, like Bill says, a very replicative behavior of the other Charles. And who we're talking about here is Charles Hoskinson, who just a little bit ago also went against the XRP community, calling them out, and all of a sudden having a pretty radical change of heart, where Charles is just basically saying, hey, they're a bunch of kid conspiracy theorists. Sorry, I had a good one at this one. The XRP doc says, Charles, blink twice if the SEC is holding you hostage. Because, yeah, no, I had a good laugh at that one. Hopefully you guys have it too. At the end of the day, it could indeed be that he's gotten some pressure from higher up that said, don't be so negative against the SEC because they might come for you. Or just some policy shifts where they cannot be as negative against the SEC anymore. Hence, he's going on a tangent to defend them. Because again, a couple of things that he's talking about are not necessarily bad. I mean, take a look at his tweet here. Instead of going down the Hinman ethics violation rabbit hole, which I personally think is a very nice little rabbit hole to go down into, mostly because, well, it's being completely ignored. So I think it's valid that people are talking about it, but okay. XRP community should be putting pressure on the SEC about how the Sam Bankman-Fried token, or FTT, somehow managed to evade the fate of Ripple/XRP with Gary Gensler and co. FTT was an integral part of FTX, yada, yada, yada. And again, I think personally that this is one of the most stupid posts in the world. Obviously, every person in the XRP community has asked this question for years. Hey, SEC, why aren't you going after real scams? So it's not as if this had any use to say, as by logic, I think, any single XRP person that's seen anything about this lawsuit is literally saying every single day, SEC, go after the real criminals. Take a look at all those guys. But it all kind of coincides into one thing yet again, the Hinman ethics violation and Gary Gensler's potential conflict of interest. Again, Gary Gensler was very well connected with Sam Bankman-Fried and Miss Ellison, Caroline Ellison, in the same sense that Jay Clayton, Hinman, and all that all come together again. We've talked tons of hours about all these different law firm connections, but we should also add here that nobody in the XRP community really wants more crypto projects to be sued. At least as far as I'm concerned, I don't want any crypto project to be sued. I want the SEC to make proper rules and to disclose exactly what their thoughts have been on crypto. And then whenever any crypto crosses those lines, which are clear, again, I should add, right now they're not, then they should go after them. But so if we're talking about FTX or any FTT situation, I don't necessarily think that it's extremely relevant how they missed FTT. It's more so relevant why they have not come up with a framework yet, which again then comes back to Mr. Hinman and potentially the fact that they didn't want to make a framework because they had to let Ethereum pass, for example. That's again what a lot of these theories are about. But at the end of the day, we all know. Again, we don't know, but we know why the SEC didn't react to FTT or FTX and all that. I don't think we have to go down that rabbit hole and explain. I should again add at the end right here, I am not against Charles. I don't think he's a bad person, and I don't think that everything he posts is bad. We will agree to disagree on things, and I don't necessarily like his Twitter attitude. But then, for example, the tweet that he just posted, he says, I sit down with John D nearly every time he's in town. He comes on air with me. Then we have dinner. We agree on most and respectfully disagree on a few other issues. And again, this is where we disagree. Drop the delusions, conspiracy theories, etc. Not a good look for the XRP crowd. So again, half of his message was just completely fine, but then he kind of lost me by going so against these quote-unquote delusions or conspiracy theories when, well, I don't think they're that unfounded. Again, I should also quickly make sure you understand. I am pro-Ethereum. I am pro-SEC. I don't think both are bad at all. The reason I'm saying I'm pro-SEC is because they handle a lot of scams properly. It's just that there's a lot of bad people that I'm personally assuming in the entity that are too power hungry. Which is again why I think it's not a conspiracy theory, it's just they're doing a lot of bad stuff for potentially money reasons. Let's investigate. They've then narrowed it down to a couple of different people who look to be worst, which again, in my opinion, is not a conspiracy, but looks to be just a logical conclusion after research. But I also understand now why people might be going a lot deeper into all this, thinking maybe the SEC got to him too. Again, I don't know. Or maybe he wants people to dump their XRP. I don't think so. It's a very interesting discussion nonetheless. And it really is mostly the same story as we have seen with Charles Hoskinson. And my last comment is, I don't know exactly how he can be such a good researcher but not understand that this whole Hinman situation is kind of odd. And that people's concern over financial, or specifically criminal, conflicts is very great and very logical. I don't know how he could have missed that, specifically because he's been covering this story for so long. He's talked to John Dean multiple times. How did he miss it? But yeah, that was it for today's video, though, guys. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. I think I will make a couple other videos today. Let's see how it goes. And yeah, if you enjoyed it, make sure you press the like button. See you guys again in another one.